Yes, yes. This is our fifth session of this summit, the fifth annual Health Equity Summit, and the title of this session is Alcohol and Substance Abuse Supply and Demand. And what we're going to be talking about here is what are the substances and the drugs and alcohol abuse that is affecting our communities and where they are coming from. So we have our panelists here, so we'll go down the line and introduce themselves. My name is Brandon Cagle, Amir Ali. Here with CHWE VPP with Sokoto House, and we'll go down the line and let everybody introduce themselves.
How you doing? I'm Donnie Spielberg. Also work at Sokoto House.
Yeah, my name's Haitham Al-Sawadi. I'm the co-executive director, but that's just the title. My executive director is Rebecca Lilly, and I work for Port City Harm Reduction.
Abdullah, Sokoto House. Hello, everybody.
Yes, yes. So for this session, we're just going to be talking about the things that we see that are impacting our community. So we are doing a survey right now. So for everybody that's coming in, we have a lot of individuals who are filling out this survey. And this survey is dealing directly what we're talking about right now. And that's supply and demand. What do we see impacting our community? And where are these things coming from? Because we know they just don't organically grow and pop up in our community. So we'll start with Abdullah. What are you seeing in our community?
Yeah, so it's not, for me, I'm not necessarily want to communicate about seeing. I want to just put emphasis on understanding that every community has unique patterns of behaviors and habits. And this community itself, Wilmington, North Carolina, has its unique patterns and its unique behaviors as it relates to substance use, right, disorders or substance use involvement. So just want to make sure that we're clear. The reason why we're having this type of conversation is one, is set a precedence that every community is not the same, right? And everybody's not responding to their social and emotional conditions in the same way. So one of the things I'm most interested in, and I'm here to kind of co-pilot with Brother Haitham, who's actually out here in the community interacting very specifically with the various people engaged in various substances, and with the Brother Don, who's actually living right in a situation where he's actually transitioning and experiencing displacement, but nonetheless, though, he's fully present, fully engaged, and fully moving as an actual fully engaged citizen. So his eyes is wide open, right? So he's noticing some things. So for the people that's present, the few people we have inside the actual audience, everybody's out really eating right now, and for the people that's on the actual camera in the Zoom and/or that may see this conversation later in recording, I'm really interested in kind of teasing out what's really happening in our community and and which ways can we look at it uniquely to what's happening here, right here in Wilmington. So I'm gonna hand it over to the Brother Haitham to share a little bit about what he do and how your work positions you to really get a good understanding of what's going on before we start naming the actual things, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, my name's Haitham again. I'm with Port City Harm Reduction, and man, I see so many people on a daily basis. Everyone from the homeless population to people that are currently using drugs, and people that are asking to go to rehab. Everywhere, up, down, left, right, I see. We have special things that are inside of our place to help kind of cope with that. We have a community kitchen that we feed people. We have a community food pantry. We have washer and dryer, which is a gift, which is beautiful. A lot of places don't have that. We have one small shower that we're able to utilize if we're on a good day, 10 people take a shower on that day. And we also have a perinatal program, which Miss Lilly would be able to probably do a lot better than I do. But we have a full-time doula that's on staff to help females that are having problems with navigating through CPS or navigating with using and having a child. But a lot of people don't know, but if you're this is hypothetical, smoking marijuana and you go and you have a child, you immediately have a CPS case.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. They start you out in a situation where you're at a place, just at a disadvantage,
Both parents, right?
Both parents.
Yeah.
So it's real tough out there. I go out to all the camps And I'm sorry, but I'm going to go a little bit further.
Good.
Our camps that we have are crazy. I went out to the boat a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of us that went out there, and that just hurts my heart. They're playing whack-a-mole with us, man. Like, as soon as you get rid of one camp, what's the final solution? Where are you going to Like, they just have to move where they can't be seen, or what have you. That's not a crime in America. We live in the most prosperous country that's ever been. You know what I mean? And, you know, we send billions of dollars over to Israel to bomb people in Palestine. And we have all that need right here, you know? And that's a lot about what we do, but I'm very passionate about that. I'm sorry, excuse me for that, but yeah, that's basically what we do as a organization right now. We're really grassroots. We only have one funder. Thank God it's not federal. We don't have to jump through all those hoops. I do a quarterly report, and that's it. But you know, this opioid money that's going around needs to be spread around to all of us. You know what I mean? Especially people that need it, and communities that are marginalized, because they're everywhere. I see them everywhere.
Yeah.
On every corner where I stop, there's somebody flying a sign. That's. I don't care what the stock market says. That's not a healthy, community. It's just not. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on the situation.
Appreciate that. So Don, I know you have a unique positionality as well too. What gives you the lens that you may have when it comes to actually being able to see what's going on in the community and the different patterns later? We'll talk about the actual very specific things, but what do you think gives you that unique positionality?
Question. I would say deep things in life. I'll say that now as you're from 20, 25, smoke cigarettes. I think that's that kind of deals with advertising and things of that nature. That thrive more. Prior, it was more prone for people to smoke marijuana in the early 2000s. And, now it's more prone for people 20 to 30, to smoke.
Yeah.
Now that it's not smoke, they call it vapes.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
Okay.
And these things are becoming more readily available to us. Like, you can buy vapes and more different types of drugs in just regular gas stations now. And what that does is something that I want to mispronounce your name. Hatham. Yes. Some of the services that you talked about providing, it creates this, we talked about it earlier, this spiral effect where the issues are causing trauma, and then the trauma is leading to more of the issues itself. So how do you, with harm reduction, see harm reduction as a tool to be able to interject into some of those patterns?
Well, a lot of it is that people come into us and I see them start to finish. You know what I mean? Somebody comes to me and they need clean needles, right? They have old ones, they give them to me, it keeps it off the street, and after a little bit of a while, you just get a rapport with people, you know what I mean? So somebody that I've talked to and seen every week for a year or two finally said enough's enough. And they're gonna listen to me when I say, hey, like maybe you don't have insurance, but maybe we can get you into somewhere in Greenville or somewhere in Walter B. or so, we can get you where you need to be to get the services you need. And that's like really what it's all about. But we meet people where they're at, and that's the most important thing. Because a lot of people that come in, I see it every day. Like, when you walk in a door, you walk in a door like this, right? These people don't. They walk in like this. And that's very sad. When you see somebody that's so down that they won't even lift up their head, and when I see that, I try to give people, just somebody a hug. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to see that.
What are some of the drugs here in Wilmington that you find is most being utilized?
Well, in our fentanyl, CFCHE right now. CFCHE right now.
Is that it though? Crack.
Crack. I've heard of fentanyl and crack.
So it's fentanyl and crack now?
Yeah, I've heard. We have I was getting ready to say xylazine. Xylazine is a drug that is more like a Xanax or something like that. It's a downer that they put with these fentanyls to give it a little bit more, I guess, in layman's terms, legs.
Is that the worst tranquilizer?
Yes, it is. And it causes sores all over these people's bodies that will not heal. The state sent
How
me.
frequent is that?
It's very frequent. A lot of people that our bodies reject it. It's not for us. It wasn't created for us.
So and I mean to kind of like narrow down. So with that very specific drug, if it's frequent and it's clearly having that visual type of impact, is there actual, for the treatment programs, have they designated something specific to help people with that particular addiction?
You know what? It's a whole separate addiction by itself, like you said.
So is it something that's been developed inside of our, because what I found is that you have in general with the treatment programs, there's been a major emphasis on opioid use, which is a very significant problem that needs to be addressed. But it's the thing that they're treating, and everything else has been. So I want to kind of narrow down what's happening, and has it been treated, or has it something very specific been developed to treat it? Because we kind of want to asset map and figure out what we can advocate at. Right.
That's what we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say we, but scientists are working on that right now. You know, it starts with just tapering down on, on Librium and things like that, to go with your other things, like gosh, what's wrong with me? Subutex and things like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So like they do have dual things. So they understand that the methadone that they're giving out doesn't work anymore. You know.
Oh, so methadone would be used for that too as well, or
Well,
just
no. It's like the
example of-
methadone only treats one part
Yeah.
of a two-part problem,
I got you.
like you were saying.
Okay. So any other? So I've heard earlier. So one of the things I noticed is that crack itself is actually resurfaced, right? How frequent is that going on? How frequent are people dealing with that challenge?
I
What do you
hand
think?
out more stems than I can only imagine. I didn't say that out loud because it's illegal, but yeah.
You recorded. He didn't say it at all.
I didn't say that. But yeah. I'd much rather give it to someone and not spread disease. You know what I mean? We have mouth guards that go on them.
Yeah.
Somebody uses one that's cut and it gets their lip, and they hand it to somebody else, and then they have a bloodborne illness. You know what I mean?
What do you think is maybe? So Don as well too. What do you think is the reason for the shift in a higher occurrence of actual crack? I know you also new to the city as well too. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Well, many places I've lived in, like I'll say this, times I've lived in Rock Hill, there's a mad fentanyl epidemic. It's more potent than even, smoking cigarettes or marijuana. Up in Chapel Hill, there's more of opioid addiction, more so what they get from doctors and things like that. Here, it's more so not just cigarettes, but okay, can we buy this product? How can we get more people to buy this product? Like I said, there's a lot of people like me, my demographic 2025 that some cigarettes. There was at one point where you were ridiculed for smoking Mary Jane. You were ridiculed for smoking cigarettes. Now it's more potent. I see more people. Like, okay, my young right, you would say, do justice, I guess, indulging marijuana as it's more potently push out a cigarette, push out a vape, you know what I'm saying?
So what would you say is the reason that maybe there's a rise in crack presence?
When I actually have a question. When was the billboards and all of the advertisement for cigarettes banned? Was it in the 80s?
Truth campaign, I believe.
Yeah, 80s, late 90s. Yeah.
Late 90s? Because, they still have control of our Congress. It's crazy. These big donors have all the control of, I did you this favor, you give me mine. I don't know how that, and typically, puts crack in this community, but I think it's a lack of other things. I'm not
So I'll share some things, right?
Okay.
So opioids, which I think maybe for the past decade, in Wilmington was like a major issue. Like per
Right.
capita, like Wilmington, North Carolina, New England County at the worst, right? In some of the country, the whole country, right? I was
Right.
surprised by it. Overdoses were high, everywhere. No one was exempt, right? The
Right.
black community, the white community, everybody was exposed to it, our indigenous community. And then it became even exacerbated more when fentanyl popped up out of nowhere. And that was something that was like a mystery. It was on the streets everywhere in the country, right? And it was definitely here. But then they start passing laws, like specifically here, Ben David, before he actually went out of office, he was trying to actually get people like, you were saying, like attempted murder cases
Yeah.
or whatnot for selling,
Right.
right? Yeah,
That
just
is
for
huge.
distribution. So, and then people was dying even more frequent, right? To the point where the culture was such that people was actually trying to do it so much that they wasn't close to death, right? They wasn't really getting all the way out, right? You know what I'm saying? That was like a common conversation amongst the people that was using. So if you begin to look at those two dynamics, right? The level of high was so risky that you could lose your life more frequently. That was a high risk. It was very expensive still, and it was very costly for the individuals to actually sell it because they were getting significant amount of time. So if you really look, it becomes a high maintenance drug. So the thing that then becomes available has always been around, right? Cocaine's always been around, crack always been around. It just was no longer relevant because these other highs. And then all of a sudden now it's cheaper than the high, right? That's riskier than the high, right? And even when it comes to criminal consequences, it's not the same. So there's a social shift, right? That's actually changed
The
why
10 to
people.
1 and all that stuff.
It's a different
Yeah.
dynamic. Right? And the reason I want to mention that shift that we want to also think about, because I feel like there's this particular drug in our community, 2 of them, that's been inside of Wilmington, North Carolina, that particularly affects, right, the black community more than any other community, right? PCP, right, and CFCHE.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, and you have to understand, I want to give people the sense of the social, and we want to do this, we want to talk about like the dynamics in which create this scenario, right? So if you were inside of housing authority, if you're a part of a community that's over-policed, meaning you have over-exposure to the criminal justice system, which means you have a felony or you're on parole or you're on probation, right? That means you're being screened for drugs, right? So marijuana, which is probably the most prevalent thing we enjoy to do, or whatnot, is being screened, is in your blood system for a whole 30 days. If you live inside public housing and you get screened, you lose your housing.
If you're a chronic user, it stays in your system a lot longer.
Longer than that, right?
Yeah.
If you're on parole, you're on probation, right? You're taking penitentiary chances just to smoke some herb. And some people willing to do it, right? Because they need to have the herb, right? And that's just what it is, right? It's a social consequence. It's a social penalty, right? Because you're really not, marijuana is not really that type of narcotic, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like literally you're being chastised for a social decision.
They
Exactly,
sell an
right?
isotope of it in the store, every store you go to.
Yes.
You know?
So when it comes to PCP and when it comes to CFCHE, what is it, 2K?
K2.
K2. I don't know why I mix it up all the time. But K2, right? These are things that if your probation officer or your parole officer blood tests you, if the actual or urine tests you or otherwise, as well as housing authority, there's no trace. There's no trace. It's cheaper, right? And you can stay high longer.
Nice, scary.
Yeah, so get this down, though, right?
I've seen
Huh?
people
It's way more
flop on
dangerous.
it.
Look, no, that's the thing, right? It's way more dangerous. It's destroying the brain cells in places
part.
where you can have one experience and you never come back.
Yep.
Right? You
There's
can
a
do
lot of
it.
people that have bad trips.
Bad
and
trips,
you see
right?
them never recover from that bad trip.
Now, very good point. Now, the reason why we want to bring this conversation up, because again, we're talking about the market, supply and demand, right? Now, again, I'm not the type of individual that try to demonize all drugs, because most drugs, right, starts off as something that's actually self-medicating us from some other form of actual mental health or stress or something we have
From a
going on,
doctor.
right? And usually everything's about really, everything in life, not everything, the majority of things in life is about actual volume and frequency. How often are you doing it, or are you doing it regularly, right? But some drugs are just so addictive and it's so harmful that if you touch it, period, it's just going to damage you, right?
There is no moderation.
There is no moderation in it, right? We get that for some areas, right? So some places in drugs you're going to have this is negative, and then some you're going to have that, you know, saying it's not negative and become negative. But what I want to say is that, because as a community, we want to talk about, right, not only what's happening and what's out there, right, but what is actually being neglected. And when you start talking about a drug that is not traceable, It's very inexpensive, but you can get high for a longer period of time, and it's more damaging to you, to your brain, right? The other piece I want to add to us to be aware of is that if you go to any particular detox and or substance use abuse clinic or service provider, right, they may give you a place where you can sleep it off, but they have, and it's been around for a long time. It's not just like 10, 15, 20 years in our community. There's no designated treatment or actual service, right, in-care service for that particular actual issue.
That means there's no professionals trained in how to actually.
They haven't prioritized that training. They haven't prioritized those particular programs.
Because look where it's at.
Look, listen, it's exclusively within these communities,
Right.
within black communities or whatnot. So when we start talking about, again, so now what you're gonna find out, trip this, I'm gonna bring it back and I'm gonna go back to our panelists to talk about it. I'm gonna make you understand, or not make you, but help you understand why we having this conversation, is that now something else done shift, right? So now you still have fentanyl, you're still gonna have heroin, it's always been the case, right? But our white population has always been, unfortunately, the ones that's actually been hurt the most from that, right? I'm saying across the country, right? That's the reason why they start to treat it.
Right.
Let's just be honest, right? You know what I'm saying? They wasn't policing it, they was treating it, right? But when crack was here originally, they was policing it. And I want us to be very aware as the actual shift is beginning to happen to where crack is getting ready to actually be an actual dominant force inside the drug trade environment, because it makes sense to do so. And I'm interested, and we should be interested, whether or not we're going to police it or we're going to treat it. Right? At this moment, in this time, right? Are we going to police it or are we going to treat it? Right? And I want to be clear that if we decide to police it, right, then we want to actually bring up the fact that not only have you treated the first time, right, but you haven't treated two other significant drugs that's in our community, destroying our community, has been persistently inside of our community, harming our community, and you still have failed to come up with a treatment for it. And this is not just government. This is also clinical services, right? I just want to put that out there as we have this conversation, because we have to pay attention to the fact, whether we're using it, we may dibble dab in it, we may sell it every once in a while, we may know family members that's doing it, all that's dandy, right? We all understand that may happen. We're in an environment where people are hustling and doing anything they're doing and whatnot. We should not be ignorant to the fact that this is something that's designed to destroy a certain population of people.
Right.
We deserve a safe supply.
Right.
Absolutely. So yeah.
So how do we create pathways to be able to prioritize that treatment ourselves?
Meaning, what can the community do
What
to
can the
support,
community
right? And for instance, you go out there where they're at, you know what I'm saying, which is probably more so than what other clinical agencies are able to do. So how
Right.
can the community model some of the work and leverage and support you guys in the work that your guys are doing and being able to mitigate harm? What you're really trying to do is say, man, listen, I understand life is difficult, I understand you have to use, but we don't want you to die as a result.
Right.
Hold
Like-
on, but before you answer that, let's hear from the community, right?
I mean, honestly, like,
Oh, cool.
I feel like, crack is, like, out there, right?
Mhm.
But if you want to, like, if the community wants to do something about it, I feel like the community should have, like, more, like, stuff that we should be able to do, like, time-consuming stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the reason that it's time-consuming.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's like I've heard somebody mention that their battle with drugs and addiction is a war with boredom.
Yeah,
And not having
exactly.
anything
It
else
is.
to
It's
do.
time-consuming.
Yeah.
Chasing
It
it.
is.
Chasing, you're filling your time with something that will make you feel better,
Exactly.
because
An instant.
the rest of the time is feel like you don't know, everything is right in front of your face,
Right.
and you don't know how to address it.
Right.
So finding things and other ways that you can actually helpfully address or spend your time
Exactly.
doing things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spending your time on something that really actually benefits you.
And that mitigates the harm.
Or
that you
someone
do.
else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's significant other.
You
Yeah.
can't think about your problems when you're with somebody
Exactly.
else. I mean, that to a very degree, but
For that.
Exactly.
like the best thing that I found is like, we just gotta do what we're doing now. Talk about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we have to talk about it. It can't stay in these little rooms. It has to get out on the web. It has, like it is, and it has, others have to talk about this, because it's not a problem until it gets to the top.
Right.
Until some judge's son or daughter dies.
Right.
Then, like a Safe Samaritan law happens, which was revoked, by the way.
What was the Samaritan's law?
The Samaritan's law was that if someone was overdosed inside of your house, you could call the police. As long as there was like drugs in the house in a small amount, then they wouldn't charge anybody because they were tired of people dying. Well, they flipped that all up when the Republicans came into. I'm not trying to make this political, but I'm just saying.
It's a fact, though.
It is.
Yeah, you have to be a fact.
It is. You know, like they completely and totally like rode over that, and now people with an empty bag and somebody overdosed gets charged. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like
stops people from reporting overdoses.
just exactly, and that was the point of the whole thing. Was like we're tired. You know, like nobody wants to take somebody to a hospital or call 911 because I've got this inside of my house or whatever. And that was the whole idea of it. Just this year, I've saved 5 people. 5 with Narcan. 5. You know, like I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that as like 5 human beings that may on to go to do whatever. You know, there's no telling. You know. But every life is valuable, and that's what they're not understanding. Every single life is valuable.
And you're just one person out there.
And I'm just one. I think it was less than a month ago. I was walking in Target, and we all do this. Like, maybe I should mind my own business. You know what I mean? Like, I'm walking by, and I see some kid slumped in his car. Now, something in my head just told me, just go knock on his window. I did, no, nothing. I opened the door. Fell out. I did a chest sternum rub. No response. Ran and got Narcan and did rescue breathing. And now another person's alive to make a better choice. Like whether he does or not is on him. But I've heard police officers say, this is the 7th time I've came out here this week. Well, let it be the 8th. Let it be the 9th. You can't save someone if they're not alive. You know?
And you shouldn't put a cap on how many times you
Exactly.
be able to like respond to a person. Yeah.
That made me sick. That literally made me like so upset. I didn't say anything at the time because I knew it was the time, but at the same point, it's like this is the belief system of these quote unquote Christian people.
It's not just Christian. You got people from many different backgrounds that have that level of apathy or whatnot, and some of them don't have any belief system that have the apathy. So, and then there's people from all backgrounds that actually give a damn and willing to go far beyond to show that they actually give a damn.
The Satanic Church put out say they were going to give out food during this crisis. Like that's crazy.
If I'm hungry, I eat it.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't like the devil.
Me too.
I hate the devil.
Absolutely.
They got a question here, and then Lily.
Yeah, can you just educate me a little more on what right the housing authority has to drug test?
Right.
Well, it's federal funding. So think about this. Same thing with non-for-profits.
Do you mean like Section 8?
Yeah, Section 8 and actual housing authority.
Or where they put them in places.
How does housing authority get involved in it?
Well, housing authority is, so anyone that's inside housing authority is in there based off of actual reduced, rates.
Like they're getting lower.
Their very rent is reduced as a result of being inside the housing. So you're paying, some people pay as little as $50 or whatnot. So think about that.
The rest of that is being paid by the subsidies.
By the subsidies and the federal government. So really, you're not living in your own house, you're living in their house.
Right.
It's the same thing like with non-for-profit, right? A lot of people think non-for-profits, belong to the organizations that's running them. Non-for-profits belong to the government. Why? Because people get tax write-offs, right? You know what I'm saying? So for instance, if I give $100,000, right, inside of donations to a non-for-profit 501c3 and I want a tax write-off, they give me 30% worth of that tax write-off. So you know that $70,000 that would have went to the government, or that $30,000 that would have went to the government, instead it didn't go to the government. It went to us. Mm-hmm. So the government feel like, you know what, I'm actually a partner, and I have a sharehold inside of your organization.
That's the key point. It's a shareholder.
Yes,
you're a shareholder. You're invested in what that organization produces.
But it's regulatory.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't abide by certain type of federal laws or whatnot, and one of the federal laws, for many reasons, right, the drug pieces,
buy them.
Well, the thing is this, all right, if you live inside public house, some of the laws is relevant for certain circumstances, right? But of course, certain things are abused because you got people that live inside of public housing, they chilling, right? You know what I'm saying?
I just wonder how often the other things against them.
Well, they don't. It's only used based off. So it's based off the managers. It's based off the staff. The staff, they can do random, right? You know what I'm saying? If they see you walking inside the actual environment, they know you live inside. Because some projects they got, housing authority, they don't have people. They have people that don't live there, right? But if you live there and they know you live there, you know you live inside of a home, and someone that's employed by housing authority see you like smoking weed or doing something you shouldn't be doing or involved in transactions, then that may trigger them to want to come. They can't do anything other than drug test you.
What's the difference between that and stop and frisk? What's the difference?
Well, the difference is that you don't have to live in that house. If you want your autonomy and not to be, stop and frisk, then you're not going to live in that house and get that discounted rate. So the conditions to be inside the actual housing is to actually abide by certain rules.
Right.
And that's what they're saying. We're going to leverage making you abide by those rules because you're getting the average person paying $800, $900. Even $1,200 for a 2-bedroom, you're paying $70.
Right.
So they're saying like you can't do drugs.
It's like living at your parents' house.
Exactly. There's rules that goes along with it. Again, I feel like that it's a rule. It makes sense, but sometimes it's weaponized in a way that's harmful. It's retaliatory. But in some places you go to, it's completely used in the most healthiest way. There's people out there doing certain things where they're not causing any harm or whatnot. They're not tripping off what they're doing. But if they notice that you're behaving in a certain type of way that's disruptive to the overall environment, they'll leverage that right against you. That's a human thing.
That's the human piece that I want to highlight. Yeah. And how do you make that human piece where apartment managers, property managers do feel like they have that, not the authority, but the relationship with the people in their community, where they don't necessarily have to weaponize different things to.
Like they try to do it to get closer with them, like personally.
Nah, but
it's kind of hard. I'm tell you why, right? Housing authorities specifically, there's like for instance right across the street, right? The majority of people, I don't know what the dynamics is now, but you got like 3 generations of older people. Man, you got great grandmamas, and mamas, right, living inside the actual housing facility, right? And some of our elders, they might have been wilding out when they was younger, but at this age right now, they got grandchildren, great-grandchildren, they relax, they chill, they're trying to be inside of an actual safe environment. Let's just be honest, man. I've been in the streets, many of us have been exposed to people in the streets. When you're doing drugs, right, you attract other people that's going to do drugs, even if they don't live there, right? They're going to come around, right? And if you're fully active in doing drugs, meaning I'm doing it, and I'm going to do more than more money than I have, right? Then I'm going to try to bring anybody else around that's going to be able to help me go get those drugs. And then now you benefit, and then they're not going to have the same respect for your neighbors and the environment as everybody else.
Right.
Then you're going to also have now it's a trap spot because the homies going to come through and be like, you know what? There's money here.
It's going through.
Right. And so then you got a whole other dynamic that's actually there, right? So in one sense, there's this which seems like a level of dehumanization. I don't care about the humans, but there's also some science around why they're doing what they're doing. Right.
It's a turnkey. It's a system.
It could be a system, but I think some of it is legitimate though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
because they feel like they don't have any other, they don't have,
people wild out, man.
You don't
like,
have
you know what I'm
respect for it. You make your people around you feel like I have no other alternative to be able to address it.
Yeah. But I guess the key thing for us as a community, right, is one, understanding, right? Being able to be balanced in our understanding, right? And then encourage self-control. Right? If you can understand and say, look at homie, like, listen, you understand why such and such grandma, bro, is on the verge of getting kicked out. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't even live here, but you acting like this.
Right.
Well, now being able to have that conversation and say, man, listen, like, they ain't even tripping over here, bro. Like, do your thing, but keep it low key. Some people don't think about that. Right? Like they were saying earlier inside the actual session about when you drink or you smoke, whatever, you become uninhibited. Yeah. Right?
And you damage the relationship.
You damage the relationship because in the moment you just kind of feel like you wilding out, and there's a culture of I'm wilding out. And we have to be able to actually, like the harm reduction, right? Harm reduction is also trying to like coach somebody down. Like, listen, bro, you're doing what you're doing, man. I may not be able to convince you to stop doing what you're doing, but you can do what you're doing in a better way.
And be safe.
You can do it more safer. You can do it without as much disruption.
You can have the tools to keep people alive.
Exactly. Without putting the people around you at risk.
Exactly.
Which then is going to actually encourage them to call somebody to get rid of you or take care of the problem that they can take care of. This is the type of community conversations that we can begin to have, right? Because again, the main reason that most people are concerned, and it shouldn't be, the main reason why everybody should be concerned about the state of affairs as it relates to addiction should be that people is hurting themselves, right? But what you'll find is that the real reason that not all, but a significant number of people are concerned is because you're hurting yourself and you're putting us at risk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's us at risk
Yeah.
that got public attention to say we need to do something.
Right.
So what I'm saying, going from the same angle of lens of Hatham, he's out there looking at how to intervene and how to reduce harm. There's also a reduction of harm as it relates to behaviors and being able to actually have sensible conversations. Like a lot of brothers come and sisters come to even Sokoto House. And I'm talking about brothers be wilding out. And they see one of us and they kind of regulate, oh, I'm in this environment. Oh, what's up, brother? Peace. Like there's a side of them that's on some like, I recognize where I'm at. But inside the community, until you have an environment where we can begin to engage them in that particular type of way, they're not going to respond that way.
Right.
Right?
Because it's just less, there's more inhibition out in the community because you can't regulate, you feel like nobody can regulate you, you're not in a regulated space.
No, it's not even so much that, it's that other people are not regulated.
Other people
There's not a culture of,
culture.
yeah, if there was a, like, you think about it, if there was a standard of being a participant in drug use, I'm going to do it this particular type of way. I'm not going to do certain things. There's a certain limitation, right? Although it's kind of difficult because sometimes substance use can cause you to take from your own mama, depending on how bad it gets, right? It can get real challenging, right? But that's the farthest extreme. There's a lot of people out here that got limits.
Yeah.
They got a whole lot of limits. They got self-control. It may not be the self-control we want. The self-control we want from them is that don't do it at all. They on something like, nah, I ain't there right now. I'm comfortable where I'm at, but I'm not going to go so far.
Everybody has a different rock bottom.
Exactly, right? So as a community, how do you then begin to shift the culture to say, man, listen, can you do what you're doing, right, in a more, integrable way for the good of yourself and for the good of everyone, right? And that's a form of harm reduction,
Right.
right? They say if you can do that, you may get less requests from your neighbors and from other residents calling the police on you. If you can do that, you may get less, right, complications with not being able to actually find what you're looking for. You may make the environment actually more, and I hate to say this, more conducive to what you're trying to achieve, right? If you can get them to do that, then you introduce the opportunities for keeping them alive.
Yeah.
And then if you can do that, over time, you wait for the right moment. Because it's always a moment. You can tell, person comes into your space, head down, you give them that hug. One of those hugs,
It's gonna change a lot.
indefinitely, it's gonna happen.
Because they want to get to the other side.
Yes, bro.
They just don't know how to get to
And they're waiting for that moment.
Yeah.
They're waiting for that thing to open it up.
It takes two people.
The vulnerability.
One person being willing to ask for help, and it takes one person being willing to say, I'll help you. And it takes both of those people working together to actually change.
Yeah.
Yes.
What were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Let's
It's
just
okay. I had a few things and I've lost several of them, but where we're at now, another thought came up. You were speaking earlier, I hate we were talking about like individuals come to your location and give you needles in exchange for other needles, and whether that's like okay or small upon or
Yeah.
whatever. That right there is intrinsically teaching accountability, and by that is also helping that individual who is either choosing or suffering or whatever their process is
Right.
to protect their community. Like
And
they're
themselves.
actively choosing to protect their community because they're choosing to not leave needles laying around. They know they're gonna dope up, they know they're gonna do the vice, and this can even travel, this can even traverse over to alcohol, people who are drinking. That little bit of responsibility in our communities, whether you're houseless or whether you have a home to go home to, remembering to put your trash in the trash can. Remembering or having a place for needles. I know some counties or some cities have on red boxes literally along the wall or along the fences. We know drugs are going to happen. If I give you a place to put stuff away, more often than not, our community, no matter how gone you are, more often than not, our community does want to leave the green space greener. So
There won't be a 4-year-old picking up a needle.
Exactly.
and-
No one who's mentally
Yeah.
gone, no matter what level of drugs you want, wants to see their niece or their nephew in the park picking up a dirty needle.
Right.
A lot of communities don't offer a place for them to go to. It's not widely advertised. So Port City Harm Reduction has that ability. You can bring your dirty needles in, get clean or what have you. It's how can other organizations who support the healing of our community, again, we're not trained in drug response, I personally been trained in helping administer Narcan, and there's a few people in here who have, so it's beautiful. But across the board, I will never say I'm a drug interferer. I am not a drug condoner. I myself have have battled with my own drug usage, so I understand what it is to walk that walk.
Same.
But how can we as a community help advocate for not only your organization to have the awareness of the work that you do, but even on like a larger socio-political scale? How can we get our city council or our county commissioners to put those red boxes up and not think it's a taboo, but see it as a form of violence prevention?
There it
or
is.
violence intervention?
Yeah.
Like, how can we help raise your message for the overall community good? Because again, we can't stop drug usage. We know it's going to happen, whether it's down the back alley, or if it's in your home, or if it's under the Greenway Bridge. But studies have proven, bigger cities have shown, if there's a receptacle to put stuff, automatically
They'll
the violence
go
will-
there,
Yeah.
yes.
So how can we help lift the necessity for that and talk to, but also amplify the work that you in your grassroots underfunded situation exist in? Because you're fighting violence prevention and harm reduction and intentional like safety of our community, especially our babies. We want to help amplify that and make sure that that message is brought, but also hold our elected officials accountable, showing them that there's an option.
Speaking of, I've been dealing with he's not with I'm sorry, I say us. I'm a huge Democrat, and I just whatever. And his name's Mr. Raven. He's not in our county. He's in Brunswick County, and I got him to. We're in the process of putting up one where every gas station is going to have a Sharps container to go into. South Carolina, I've seen it in Ohio.
Like a truck stop.
And then there's like, it's like a zero like overhead. It's just a Sharps container. You go there once a month, some guy presses a button, opens up the bottom and puts it inside of a bio container safe and takes off.
So like,
You know what I
the
mean?
places don't even have to worry about it. They just need to agree to put it up there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
that's it.
all of it.
Yeah, that's it.
So how can we help make that happen here in Wilmington, North Carolina? How
Spread
can
the
we have
word.
that conversation?
Go to these meetings. We just had our whole city council split.
Yeah.
I was so beautiful. I was so happy about
Do
that.
you have some current numbers on like, and I got the sister here to comment, any current numbers you can share with us on recent, not recent, but the numbers of like overdoses, cases of usage and different things of that nature we can use? I know at one time, the priority for substance use, specifically heroin, was so high, opioids were so high, that anybody can probably just cough and somebody on the
this way.
state and the national give you some money.
We have, I'm going to be clearly transparent. Past 2 years, we've had $425,000. That goes everything from my payment to all the way down to every needle that we get, right?
Annually?
No, that's 2 years, 2 years that we've got. And we're always broke.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, this lady believed in Becca and myself, because we were doing this out of our trunk. We started like that. You know what I mean? We were as grassroots as it got. And now that I'm kind of seeing how things are going and everything, I'm not out here with my hand out like, hey, give me money or anything. But at the same point, the money's there. They're just spending it elsewhere.
Right.
They're more worried about an overseas thing than they're worried about their own people.
Yeah, I have the other countries.
You know what I mean?
You had a comment, sis?
Oh yeah. Like, kind of like what she said, but no, like, I swear to God, I'm not trying to be funny. So like, what would be the difference of like putting a red box up to put your needle in and then putting it in the trash can?
Okay,
If they
so
don't care, they're not gonna care.
well, if it goes into the dump, someone might touch it,
Yeah, but
or a bird, and then a bird takes it. Like you,
Wouldn't it be better to come up with some type of device that allows them to at least cover over?
they
and-
incinerate it. That's what they do.
You know what I'm saying? Though, like the point she's saying is that
there's a trash
walk
can
into a,
in the
yeah, is that
Right.
versus walk into the,
Yeah.
What's the difference of putting it in the box and putting it in?
For that person she's talking about.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah.
yeah,
In public,
Yeah.
right?
But I think one of the things we can do, I think what Lily was saying, and we can talk about this, how to actually advocate for.
because of that reason.
No, I think what you were saying is maybe us being more innovative and saying, okay, if it's not a red box, then is it something that can actually, like a small like cap that can be placed on the needle, that no matter where they actually toss it or whatnot, it's secure.
Right.
That's more probable that they'll put that on there, toss it in the trash can, than the ideal of like what she's saying is that the choice between a trash can and a red box.
Right.
Either way, the trash can is still there in the
Hey.
bathroom.
Yeah. But I think if they're educated in their drug use, they would say, oh, it's more
But
safer to do
guys
this.
are not gonna care.
Right.
I would say all.
I hear you.
Most wouldn't. Most wouldn't care.
I hear you.
People care more than they don't, and like I firmly believe that in my interaction. Just like I probably believe in people way too
Yeah.
or have you, if they know, yeah, like they know, like, I mean, I've been obliterated out of my mind, and I still to my day would not want my nephew to see and something happened. So no matter how high I was, there was still a level of awareness of me protecting my nephew, whether it was being exposed to it, seeing it, or being around it. And so even with our houses and our individuals who do choose to party on the streets, because that's what we call, they're taking on, they care more than they know. So leaving needles and stuff like that is not solely out of just laziness and I don't give enough about the community. If there's an option, and like Abdul was saying, we're in the community advocating and educating them, and like doing intentional conversation and canvassing where they are, telling them like, hey, there is a place you can return your needle safely so you don't have to worry about the kids finding it. And if we tell them it's actually right here in your community, they will be like, oh shit, okay, I can put it there. I really don't want 20 needles in the park because I know I'm an auntie and people come and play. So it takes us going and definitely talking to them, but it also takes there being a resource or a place where to go, because you're right, there is a trash can, and if I'm drunk, the bottle's there, I'm like, whatever.
You know the county. You know the county.
Having that conversation of accountability and showing them that there's a place they can go without judgment or without fear of trouble, that subconscious will kick in. So when they're starting to get like, okay, you know what? Let me do a little bit.
You know,
that takes a few days to get it done.
But then I feel like it depends on the person too, because like, your nephew, like you had some
words.
Some people don't have nothing to do.
Exactly.
I said enough, so look into certain words.
But that's why we, the community, gotta remind them they're not forgotten. So a lot of individuals out there do feel like they're subhuman because the system, like you're saying, the elected officials have come in, revoked parties, revoked programs, have made them feel like they're forgotten. Whether
We
it's
don't
politics
care
or
about
outrage.
you.
Literally, they're told we don't care.
You're
So
subhuman.
we, the greater whole, have to remind them that they care. So part of that educational component is not just educating them like, hey, the red box is where needles go, but it's like, hey, come grab some food. Let's chop it up with you.
Exactly.
Also, what is your name, man? Like, let me introduce myself. Remind them that they are human. They're not subhuman. That interaction alone, that positive connection, reminding them they're a living, breathing person, that shit right there will kick it in and make them go find that red box. They will walk 2 blocks to find a red box because I remember your name is Sasha. And she's like, you know what? I'm really gonna be mad if I drop the needle right here. Because someone cares about them. Someone reminds them they're human.
To that point, I think you're absolutely right. If you feel like your environment doesn't care about you, you're not going to care about your environment.
That part.
So, and that's why, you kind of see, the deterioration of things when we don't care about ourselves, and we feel like nobody else around us cares, then, it's easier to kind of let go and slip away. We're going to say some final thoughts, and we're just going to wrap up with everybody. Hayden, we'll start with you.
I just wanted to say, like, groups like us, us sitting in this room, we matter. Because there's many more that are like us out there. And like, the more that we do this, we're going to be seen and we're going to be heard. And they're going to see us and they're going to know that we're out here. It's not just a myth. It's not just, we want change. And what you're doing is not working. And I don't know about you folks, but I don't do this for the money. I don't do it for
no money in it.
There actually, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Not at this level, maybe at the policy level and the governmental level.
Well, okay, for example, my company, Vital Strategies, is funded by Bloomberg. You believe that?
I mean, I do believe it.
You believe it?
To look good on his
Tax
resume, like, I actually invest in good
tax credit.
programs.
Tax credit, right?
Tax credit.
But Michael Bloomberg funds everything that I do.
Respectfully, as he should.
And I keep that, at heart because like maybe he doesn't give a flying fuck about harm reduction.
Right.
Maybe it's just a tax write-off for him, but he's doing more good than he knows. And you guys, like us together, like Jesus said, 2 people is us coming together. And there's a lot of us in this room to keep it up.
Don, you have any final thoughts?
So I started this project with a few others back home. So they're called the Zaza Club, and what that consisted of is where people were able to buy various goods, of course, various marijuana, things of that nature. And being running that for the last 6 to 8 years, there was never no violence, no fights, none of that nature. People were actually business owners, entrepreneurs, rappers, things of that nature would come and actually provide networking services and also still get the things such as weed and things such as still have, you know, positive conversations, elevations. You know, so let's just say, you know, you take out the marijuana, things of that nature, and that comes to that point to still have, you know, positive productive things to around the community. Ever since then, like every month, we still do events. You know, people still come by. It's always been a positive conversation. There's no stipulations. Even with the security there, the security feels that they're only supposed to enjoy, you know, their marijuana. It's like a little lounge where they're able to have
Safe space.
Yeah, talk and just, you know, have a good time.
Well, I think that will be a good conclusion to our session right here on supply and demand. This has been a very good conversation. We thank everybody. We thank our panel.
How often do y'all do this?
We do this every year.
This is
But Sokoto House is open every day for you to come
So
through.
this
I'm
happens
coming
every day.
through.
pretty much
These conversations happen every day. Every day.
This level of connection
Every
every
day.
single day. But this specific event is a culmination of
Absolutely. This is our
Okay.
this is our 5th year.
Because I see this all the time, and I'm coming through.
Someone is
Like,
always
all
in here, ready to politic, advocate, and plug in. This
Yes.
is a daily
Yes.
thing.
This is our 5th year doing this summit, and we're thankful for all of our community members, our panel contestants, to be able to come in. We thank you for your commitment to community. And we're gonna Port City Harm Reduction. We have some flyers that I know you sure you want to hand out.
Absolutely.
We used to be able to do showers out here in our lawn, but it got very pricey for us. So if anybody you know needs a fresh shower to feel good about
Come to us.
themselves out in our community, go to Port City Harm Reduction. Or if they just need a space to
And
kind
then
of
right
go
downtown, the shower.
Yeah.
right downtown. Yes. What's the address where you located?
115 Marstella.
115 Marcel. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful yellow house, big ass front porch. It's
Yeah.
really
Cook a hot meal, wash your clothes,
Yes,
jump in the
yes.
shower,
Yes.
come say hi.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
drink some coffee, hang out.
Yes. Yes.
I
You
feel
know?
like, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, like, I feel like this was very, like, what I freaking needed.
Mhm.
I told you come sit down, Queen.
Right, like, I literally freaking, okay, it was 4 days ago. It was
And we're glad you're here with us.
I'm so glad
so,
you're
like,
here.
This is, like, the freaking coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna, like, make me cry, but, like, I really think that I really needed to change.
If anybody needs any Narcan, I have it in my car.
Yeah. We'll say that again. Brother Hatham said if anybody needs any Narcan, he has it in his car.
I got it on deck
He got
at
it
all
on deck.
times. I don't
And
care where I'm at.
If you're here at Sokoto House, you're part of the Sokoto House family. You're always more than welcome to come in. We have chessboard here. If you want to just come in and just have debates with us, if you want to talk, get something off your chest, come in. Normally we have something. We might, if it's just a bottle of water and some snacks, peanuts and whatever.
Right.
Come and kick it with us. We're always here, and we are here for you. So, thank you for being here and being part of Sokoto House.
Hell yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Daily.
I'm so glad.